what this is going on, but that's life. I slept on my hair wet last night, which probably isn't a good idea. So, hello, how are you? Hope you're well. Hope everything is good. Thanks for popping back. It's been a while since I uploaded on this page because everything just really got crazy for me this spring into summer into fall, and I finally hit my breaking point. I'm laughing, but I've been crying a lot too and having a lot of anxiety. Sorry, you hear my son in the background. And a lot of ups and downs and a lot of just stuff. So not to say that this channel doesn't mean anything to me, of course it does, but it wasn't really like the priority in terms of where my energy is going, you know, I'll put it like that. I have a ton of updates for people. I have a little note here, and I look like crap right now, and that's okay because I feel like crap and it's okay. I got my nails done Saturday to try to make myself feel better, and I'm like, ugh, like don't like it. So I'm feeling kind of awkward. I'm on day 1 of my period. I'm not in my best state, you know, so let's just keep it real. But if you want to just hang out, have a little catch up, check in with me, I would appreciate it, you know, so get your bevies and, you know, relax, and we'll have a little catch up. All right, after collecting my thoughts, because I truly don't even know where to start, even though I do have some notes and talking points for everybody. Like I've probably mentioned a whole bunch of times already, my June is where things started to get kind of like weird for me. July, August, September, October, and finally like end of October, I just fully burnt out. And I want to talk about that first because, or I think that's probably the most important thing to talk about. So what we're going to be covering in this little chat here is like burnout, trigger warning too for ED, which I'll explain in greater detail because there isn't, from my understanding, any sort of like blanketed, there's a lot of nuances in terms of like ED, and I don't want to give off the wrong impression. I'm going to give you some updates as well to my health and some updates at the end for my other channel, because most of the people who follow me here follow me from my main channel, and because my burnout has kind of highlighted changes that I need to make in my schedule and realistically like going forward. So just to catch you up, in June I found out that my grandfather was really sick and had been sick for some time. I don't want to, you know, be like too vulnerable or like open here, but you know, that kind of shows, right, that I have like a weird family dynamic because I had no idea. Like no one told me anything. No one clued me in. I had been reaching out a little bit, but I could have been more proactive with that. But basically, like I didn't know. Like I truly didn't know. I found out and rushed to go home for just a couple of days just to see my grandfather, you know, because like God forbid if something had happened more quickly. Sorry, the light's gonna change and stuff. Oof, backlighting, no good. Where can I move to? Okay, will this be better? I'm not sure. Looks a little better. We need to have decent lighting. So went home. That time period was the first time that I stopped posting on YouTube for a little while, and my analytics like kind of tanked during that time. Sorry. So if you're not in the back end creator side of YouTube or really social media in general, like if your business doesn't rely on social media, your livelihood, then you probably it might be like harder to relate to. But for those of you who are creators or do depend on your output to kind of like, you know, support your being able to pay your bills and buy groceries and stuff, when your stuff starts to tank, it's a complete like mind F, you know? It's a complete like, oh shit, like I need to what can I do to avoid this? So after that happened in June, because of my trip and because of the stress that I was like prioritizing my family and, you know, understanding stuff and processing a lot on that end. I made it a point that I was going to post and make sure that I had at least 2 videos for the most part. You know, there's weeks that this doesn't happen, but you know, there's times that this doesn't happen, but for the most part, I was posting like 2 videos a week on my other channel, on the Luna Needs, and sometimes even like 4 a week, sometimes more, like if I was doing short ones. Basically, I was wanting to show up for like community, because that's certainly like a huge drive of mine, but I also now had YouTube kind of quote unquote punishing me, like I'm some victim here, right? But like punishing me for changing my uploading schedule and not posting, and then like tanking, and then being like, okay, like I need to make sure that I'm putting up content, because as you know, like the world is completely feeling like unstable for a lot of people. I don't mean to project, but I live here in South Florida. Everything is so expensive. My rent is going up, like gas prices, everything, right? Taxes, all of the stuff, groceries, like everything is so expensive. So when you see your financial kind of like aspect or a line of your finances dipping so much, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's my fault. I should be creating more, you know, like I'm able to, like I'm so lucky I get to do this, and all that is very true. So the next time that I went back, I went to visit my family in June. I realized that was like way too short. That was kind of like an emergency trip. Like I have to go, God forbid something happens tomorrow, like I'll regret that I didn't get to go say goodbye to my grandfather. So went, and then as soon as I got back, basically started planning like when I could go again, because I wanted to go for about a week, to go back, spend time with my aunt, spend time with my grandfather, and just like be around, be present more. So I did plan that, I did do that, and this time I pre-recorded some like shorter videos, so I had stuff to upload that week. So I was literally like getting up after I drove practically a whole day, like 22 hours up to Jersey, spent a whole lot of money on an Airbnb, because there's not really a lot of hotels at the Jersey Shore. I don't know if you know. It's mostly like Airbnb or like summer rentals and stuff. And this was July in the summer at the Jersey Shore, so everything was like super, like the highest price that it's going to be for the year, you know. So spent a whole bunch of money on my Airbnb and getting up there and all this stuff. I'd wake up, I was still an hour away from like where my grandparents were living, drive an hour there in the morning, hang out for the day, leave there around dinner time, go back to the Airbnb and edit a video and get it up like on my laptop, trying to sign into like you know, like Premiere on my computer that I haven't used in forever, to like, so even on this like trip that I'm supposed to be like just immersed in the experience, I was still like editing and uploading and trying to make thumbnails and like all this stuff. So the next month was when my grandfather did the next month was my son's birthday, August. So I had already planned a week to go to Disney, as I talked to you about before, and that was great, but it was still like another time of like being off for a week. And luckily I had like pre-recorded some videos, so that was fine. So long story short, like trying to wrap this up here, but once my grandfather did end up passing early September, I think September 1st or 2nd. I want to say September 1st. Out of a week or so later, I figured there wasn't going to be any funeral. And then I found out last minute, like, oh, this weekend actually we're doing something. So I had to fly back, which was really good as well. I'm glad that I did. But to go to my grandfather's services. So the only reason I'm bringing all of this up, because this is really where things started to get slippy for me. But to be like perfectly candid, everything really started kind of when the pandemic happened, you know, like back in 2020, where, you know, now I'm divorced, I'm living alone, I'm isolated, I'm single mom, I'm head of my household. I'm taking care of my dog who's super needy, and I'm doing my best to like show up online for the communities that are so important to me, and specifically the community that the Lunanate little community there, because I'm speaking of it like, oh yeah, like my work and yeah, my money was like, it's not all about that. That's where the pressure comes from. But there's also the really beautiful side of it, like really fulfilling side of it that really isn't about money and being supported or having this or that. It's about like doing what feels like most natural and most fulfilling, like a soul sorry, it sounds really goofy, but like a soul mission to like add good to the world in some way, in a way that I'm able to. So I don't want to paint this picture that like Lunanate is only a business to me, because it's not, it just happens to be like I've put in enough time and energy into it that like it is a business now, and it is how I support myself. But I would do it if I won the lottery tomorrow, like I would still do it. So through the pandemic, things getting stressful, of course, going through a divorce, of course, like all this stuff, and work ethic, and basically like putting all of my energy, besides obviously time with my son, but all of my energy into the channel. All the free time I have like goes into filming or editing or planning, scheduling, like setting it all up. I know people watch videos and it's just like a little 20-minute video, but behind the scenes, like so much goes into that. There's also a thing that happened in early 2022 was I became the primary caregiver for my son, or like the primary parent, or whatever you want to call it. So I went from having like a 50-50 schedule with his dad to me having my son like most of the time. So my work time and my personal time, we could say, got shortened to just the weekends, like specifically Friday through Sunday afternoon. So all of that was just kind of compressing. So 2022 was where things started to really like get tight for me. And I kept saying like to the couple of people that are in my life, like my ex-husband who I'm close with, my boyfriend, and I'm just saying like, I am hanging on by my fingertips here. Like I'm about to be burnt out. Like I can't keep this up, like telling people and talking about it, obviously acknowledging it, but I wasn't doing anything to change it. In fact, like I just kept going harder. Like I just kept putting more. I kept agreeing to like more things. And then finally we get to, and forgive me, a little sidebar. The only reason I'm bringing up my grandfather and all that was because those trips really like, as I wouldn't change it. Like it's so important, and I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to go visit with my family during those times. But they are, when you have such a tight schedule and something comes up unexpectedly, it is one of those things that like, like it leads to the next weekend or the next week or the next month being more pinchy, like more stressed, right? So anyway, get to October, and throughout the year, I get opportunities for sponsorships on my channel, which is so amazing, so helpful. And because I had spent so much of my savings on these 3 unexpected trips to Jersey, I was ready to take those sponsorships, I was like, yes, like let's put money back in savings, like let's create a little cushion again, because like it feels scary if you're on your own and you don't have like anything to back it up. I'm sure you can relate to that, right? Everybody can. So in October, I had a total, the most ever, of 8 sponsorships to do, which again, I'm so grateful for. I'm grateful to my viewers. I'm grateful to the sponsors. I'm just grateful for that opportunity. And at the same time, there's good wrapped up in bad and bad wrapped up in good. It really ended up creating like the breaking point for me. I was like so exhausted. So for each of the sponsorships that I film, even though they're these little like 3-minute bits, I put like a lot of effort into them. There's a lot more editing into them. I have to work off of like what they want me to say, or the points they want to make, or the offer, send it to them, they send back notes, there's this back. Where when I'm just editing my own video, like I'm the boss, so I just have to do it once. Or this is like, you got to keep going back, or they want to refilm something different, or oh, you used the wrong thing here, or actually we've changed the code. So it's a lot more work, even though it doesn't seem like it would be as much work as the typical videos. It actually is a lot more work. So not only was I putting out 3 videos a week in October, I was also creating a sponsorship portion for each of these freaking videos for the most part, right? So it was just too much work for me, like too much work. And I was talking to my boyfriend and I said something like, I feel like I'm bleeding out. Like I feel like I have like, there's gonna be like nothing left to give soon, like that kind of thing. That's for later, right? So this is the issue, right? I wasn't planning my schedule. Not that I wasn't planning my schedule. My schedule was changing and things were coming up unexpectedly, and I didn't have the time anymore or the resources to plan better, as in, or planning is fine. Doing the plan, like following through on the plan, was becoming an issue. You know, I'd have all these ideas and things set for that one Friday that I have, or that Saturday, but then something might come up, or I'll get like X amount done, but there's still a lot left on that list. Like the list never ends, you know? And that's what's one of the things I love about it, that there's always there's no limit to the well of like your creativity or the things you want to do. But that can also kind of like turn into something a little uncomfortable at the same time, right? So it's like, you got to kind of manipulate it to like work for you, really. So I was just burning the candle at both ends. As you know, grateful for the support that I do have. I don't have support on like a daily basis. Like I don't have like someone to even just go like get like coffee with or something, to just like vent to one another, right? So it was just building up, and I was saying this, like I'm saying it to other people, but really like I'm the one that's gonna make the change. So me saying this to my boyfriend, like, oh, like I'm bleeding out, like I don't have anything left to give, like I feel like my battery is like low, like I have to replenish, like I need a month off, oh my gosh, like I need a week off, I need an actual vacation. Because even the couple of times that I did take a little like weekend vacation in the past 2 years, not counting my Orlando trip, that was different for my son's birthday, but even these little things, it's still just 2 days. Like it's still just a normal ass weekend, right, to take off. So I wasn't really recharging myself, like truly like not recharging myself. And the low energy that I had was leading me into like less good habits, more bad habits, which were leading me to like not feed myself properly, to let my stress get to me, to not give myself the time for self-care because I got to get this done. All right, well, yeah, I'm going to eat, but let me get this edit done. Yeah, I'm going to eat, but let me do this. So in October, not only was I like just completely burning out, like still going, but completely burning out, I had something come up with my son that just was the straw that like broke my back, you know? In hindsight, I can now reflect like, okay, my grandfather passing, this like call to focus on myself, focus on my family. I did it, but I didn't do it. Like I didn't truly give myself the time, you know? In October, I'll tell you, I don't think it's like hyper personal for him or anything, but you know, my son has autism and we do homeschool with him for various different reasons, but we've been trying to find more kind of supplemental opportunities for him to connect with other kids or learn or play or whatever. And my son's not super social in the typical neurotypical kind of way. He will definitely talk to you, but he's like very confident and just kind of doing his own thing. And I don't know, he's just like a real independent kind of person, something I really admire about him. And we found this place that was recommended to us from one of his really sweet, really lovely like counselors at the surf camp that he goes to in the summer. And they recommended this place. I schedule a visit, we meet with the owner, we get a tour, all like me, my son's dad, my son, and everything seems amazing. Like, I'm so excited, like I'm happy tears, like wow, like he's finally gonna have a spot that. So the day comes, I drop him off, I walk him in, I pack him up, and in about a couple hours I get a call. Yeah, this isn't gonna work out. This isn't gonna work out. You need to come get him right now. And I'm just like, okay. So his dad lived closer. He went to go pick him up. And it was just heartbreaking. This isn't the first time this has happened. And it just felt like this total kick in the stomach of rejection from my son and him not being able to like just participate the way like some other kids can and stuff. It was just like, it just felt really bad. And he gets in the car and he's all like, oh, I can't wait to go back. And we have to like break the news to him that he can't go back there and blah, 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 blah. So that was like really, really hard for me. Like that day I fell into like, I felt so depressed that I had to like sleep. Like I don't really nap that much when my son is here because, you know, we're busy together, but I was just so depressed. I was like, buddy, you know, like I need to go lay down for a minute. I didn't want him to see me crying over anything, right? It was just really bad. And again, it was just that final straw, right? So the next day or soon after, I start noticing these like health issues that I felt like I was having, specifically with my veins and my circulation. I have always had like thin arms and legs as well. Like I always say, I have like the body of a tree frog, and I say that to myself with love. Like I'm not trying to like talk shit on myself, but I have like a tree frog body, you know, like little, I wouldn't say chunky, but like little, you know, little thick torso and just like long skinny arms and legs and stuff. So, but out of nowhere, I started getting, you won't see it now because I'm in a different position, but if I have my hand to my side, this arm was like, it still is like, I'm still going to the doctors for this. Like I haven't figured out what it is yet, or if I can even heal it, or like if this is permanent now. But I'm getting like emotional because veins are one of the things that like really grosses me out, like more than anything. Like I can handle seeing blood, I can handle boo-boos, like I can handle broken bones, like in a sense. Hey buddy,
how long do you sleep for? 7 hours.
I'm glad he just interrupted me so I could shake it off a little. But veins like gross me out, like faint. Like I faint every time I get my blood taken, or I used to anyway. I get like real heebie-jeebies, like weak in the knees. Even when I was a little girl, my mom would do this thing where she'd like, you know, where like people make their tendons and stuff like pop out, and she would like chase me around, like kind of mean. Like she thought it was funny, I'm sure, but like it was like I was like phobic over it, you know, like really, really, really triggered by it. So the fact that like this is the problem that I'm having is just like kind of like, of course it's this, because this is what's gonna get my attention more than anything. Like me losing a little weight didn't get my attention. Me losing my appetite didn't get my attention. Me, I don't know, like whatever else was going on didn't get me. My grandfather dying, like didn't get my attention enough. It's almost like this bizarre, like we're gonna pull the biggest punches we have. Like get it together, like notice this. So I never had like visible veins here. Like I'm pale, I'm thin, in my arms especially, but I've had restless leg for a while. I've had some circulation problems in the cold, like when I lived up north, I'd get that thing where like your fingertips turn like yellow because there's like really bad circulation and you're cold, like that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm not surprised that I have like circulation problems in general, but like it's so funny because when my hand's like this, it's happening, but if I lift it up to oh yeah, I could just like move the thing. But basically my veins from here are like protruding and sticking out of my arm, like when I'm not carrying anything, like I'm not like lifting a weight here or anything. It's just happening. If my hand's just lowered, like it's happening. And it was freaking me out so much because it felt like it happened out of nowhere. And it's not just that they're visible, they're like, I feel pinching, I feel like dull pain. I'm feeling like odd sensations here in the veins in my fingers, this hand, and my feet, my legs, all the way up like into my thigh. Sorry. So I have a scan. So the first appointment that I went to with the specialist was more of like a preliminary kind of thing, and then they schedule you to come back for like scans. The problem is that the place that I'm working with right now, or that I'm going to tomorrow, is more of like a below the waist kind of vein kind of specialist, where they don't really focus on the arms. So I have to go to my primary care for my arms and just make sure that, you know, I guess they'll tell me like where to go from there. The thing that freaks me out is that it's only one arm. Like, it makes me feel like I have a blockage. It makes me feel like something's wrong, or that I have some kind of like insufficiency or something. But this all kind of also ties back to like blood, your life force, the flow, the path that you're on, like the direction that your path is flowing to, and also like your energy. And like I said before, like I felt like I was bleeding out. So like, is it surprising that I have like some weird like vein stuff going on? But anyway, that's, you know, when I went to the specialist, they were like, oh, I wouldn't worry about the arm thing. And I was like, yeah, people keep saying that to me. Like, my son's dad, my boyfriend, they're like, oh, well, I wouldn't worry about that. And I'm like, I can't not worry about it. Like, I can't not. Like, it causes me extreme anxiety. Like, I'll start crying. I'm like freaking out. It's like really evident and obvious to me. And it also kind of makes me feel like when I'm saying like, hey, like I'm burning out, or like, hey, I need help, or hey, this is happening and I'm scared, it makes me feel like I'm crazy, you know, or like making it up or something. And it gets in my head like, is this just anxiety? Is this just how my arms are? And I just never noticed, but I know that's not true either. So, I can't really sit for too long. I have to like keep moving around. I'm doing like dry skin brushing. I'm like just trying to do anything that gets my circulation going. And hopefully it's just one of those somehow thing that like resolves when I kind of get my stuff together. But I'm not in like a great deal of pain or anything. It's more like, I don't want to say mental because it's obviously something very physical, but it's more of the anxiety. It's more of the, I don't want to say fear of the unknown for sure, but that kind of ties back into the anxiety. It's more of like knowing that I have to change something because it's so hard to change. Like doing what you love, and also like the fear of, I don't know, like not being able to like afford to like live, you know? yeah, so anyway, I'll pause here for a sec. Okay, so this also falls back to an eating disorder that I've developed. I just want to say, first of all, like, my eating disorder has nothing to do with how I look. Like, I would love to be curvier. Like, I would love to be, like, it's not about, like, thinness or control, maybe. Like, it's not, it doesn't feel like it's about any of those things. And this is, again, something I kind of have to work on with at least my primary care first, and then maybe like a nutritionist or something. But I've had this type of eating problem my whole life. It just never was a problem. So when I start a new job, when I get into a new relationship, when I go through a breakup, when I move and I'm in a different place, when I'm traveling, these are all times that kind of like interfere with my appetite. I'm either distracted or something, and I kind of lose my appetite for a short amount of time. Like, nothing that's ever caused a lot of problems before. It's kind of like when you get in a new relationship and you have butterflies and you don't really eat as much or whatever, and then you get comfortable and y'all are pigging out together, you know? Like, it's just been relatively normal, I guess I would say, for all of my adult life. Like, I just remember it. So even when I was living in Staten Island more recently, like the last few years, like, this was coming up because I was working so much. Like, I was doing one-to-one classes, I was doing one-to-one sessions, I was keeping up with my channel, I was developing stuff to build in Patreon, I was teaching, I said that already, the one-to-ones. So I was just really, really busy. And then too, even though we were living with my ex-husband's parents at the time, it was like all on me. Like, I was the only one working. So, like, in my relationship is what I mean by that. So I just felt like I had to fix this situation. And, you know, if you want me to go into that more, please let me know in the comments below. Like, there's so much here. Like, I was like, should I break this up into like small videos, or should I just let it all out? I think like just the only way I can get through it is to like let it all out and not go put on a cute outfit or anything. Just like be in I have my period outfit and I'm not doing shit today. Besides planning and journaling and a little tarot maybe or something to just, you know, let my thoughts keep moving and stuff. But then, you know, back in Staten Island, when I was like the only one working in my little family, and I had to make sure that the bills were getting paid and that this and this and that saving was happening and all this, was kind of where it started to get a little bit bad. Like, there were times where I could see it could have gotten out of hand there, but I had my ex-husband to be like, hey, did you eat? Like, I'm gonna make you a sandwich. So I always had, you know, there was somebody I was living with to like say like, hey, like, I'm making dinner, or hey, like, what should we get for dinner, or whatever. Okay, so now that when I moved to Florida, or we all moved to Florida, we knew that we were going to get divorced. We knew we were going to separate. So that wasn't like a surprise or anything, but we were here for about 6 months-ish, might be less than that. And that start of the new year, so 2020, was when my ex like moved out and I was on my own, like officially, finally, which, you know, good or bad, like, it just is what it was, right? It was like a long time coming. So, we had the pandemic, we had, you know, there's just so much stress in the like political realms and social realms and stuff, and everything was just so intense. And it kind of started then where I, you know, wouldn't eat all day and then I'd eat dinner, or, you know, I'd have no problem like skipping a meal or going to bed without eating, because I don't know, I was just stressed and just busy, and I didn't think it was like a problem. I just think like, oh, like I'll have a big breakfast tomorrow. Like, oh, I'll make up for it tomorrow. I'll make up for it tomorrow, right? So cut to, you know, the last year, the last like few, maybe 8 months or something, it's been like harder and harder and harder for me to eat normally. And my mom also like never ate. Like my mom was very thin. She's like taller and thinner than I am. I'm 5'4", she was like 5'7". And I don't know, I just thought that my dad doesn't eat like a ton. Like, I don't know, I just figured that my family has like low appetite. I didn't really like think about it too much, you know? But I started noticing that I was like losing a little weight. And again, just like sidebar, I'm not underweight. I have like, I in my videos sometimes like I worry that people are gonna like say something of like, oh, like eat a burger or something, because like I do have, just my body does look thinner on camera than it would in person, because I do have like thin arms. I have a massive clavicle bone. Like it's just there. Like it's not because I'm so thin or something, but it makes me look thinner. Like I have things like my body frame just looks thinner. Like if you're looking from just here, then like it like really is, you know? So people comment over there sometimes, and it just, you know, it's really hard to hear like anything that's like criticizing or like accusing or something, because you don't know what somebody's going through. There's sometimes people say like, oh, your face is all bruised. It's like, what the frick are you talking about? Like, my face isn't bruised. Like, I have sunspots and dark circles and shadows, and I'm 40. You know, like, yeah, I'm not gonna look the same every fucking video, or excuse me, like every video or something. Like, stop. Or I don't know, just like pointing out things or saying how I look so sad or whatever. It's like, I appreciate it, but I also just don't. Like, it just like, I feel like I have to defend myself. It makes me feel defensive because it's like, feels accusatory. It feels like a projection, and I just don't appreciate that because I'm so careful, or I try to be so careful to not project on other people. But all that said, you know, like, I'm having a problem, you know, I'm having like a real ass freaking problem here. So I noticed I was like losing some weight. A good weight for me is like 120. Like if I weigh 120, that's like a comfortable weight for me. And I was getting down to like 110 at like the lowest, which still for my height isn't underweight. Like it's not underweight. It's not underweight if you type it into a BMI thing. It's not underweight if you just look on a freaking like doctor scale or whatever. It's in the normal range, so it's not like I'm wasting away, you know. And I hope that, you know, forgive me, because for anyone who does deal with like eating disorders, I hope, like, obviously I'm just sharing, I hope it's obvious that I'm just sharing from my perspective, and I don't know what other people go through. I'm not trying to, you know, present myself as some like knowledgeable person here. I'm trying to figure myself out. So I'm sorry if I'm saying anything that's like uncouth or like without tact. But, you know, anyway, like all of that said, I know that like I struggle with like nutritional deficiencies because I've been like borderline anemic my whole life. And also, like, I wasn't eating enough. And even when I did eat, it wasn't like nutriently dense things, because living alone was one of the main issues for me of not feeding myself properly. Because my son's a very picky eater, and he eats like certain dinners. Like he has his cycle of dinners, but I don't want to eat just those dinners. Like... Sorry, I'm making this sound confusing, but like, I don't want to cook a whole ass meal for just me is basically what it comes down to. Like the thought of making like a whole thing that I used to love to do. Like I used to have a cooking blog. Like I used to love cooking. Like I used to be like all about it and really nerdy about it. And you know, that was when I had more free time. That was like the 1 year that I was like a stay-at-home mom, was when I got like really into cooking more and like all this cool stuff. It was great. I loved it. But that's just not my lifestyle anymore. And living alone really makes me like not hungry. Like I could just go all day without eating and be like barely notice it. Like it's not even like I'm suppressing my hunger. Like I don't feel hungry anymore. And that makes me like really sad, because it's just like now one of my things that I'm trying to like tell myself all the time is that like to my body that it can trust me to feed it on time, you know? Like my dog doesn't eat his food all the time, but I still feed him. So like why am I not like caring for myself that way? Like why is it so easy for so many of us to just like overlook like our like primal needs? Like this isn't even like an emotional thing, this isn't even like a spiritual thing or some type of self-care in this like pampering kind of like let me do something nice for myself. This is like bare minimum and I'm struggling with it. So anyway, what I'm doing right now to fix this is to track my calories, because once I started tracking my calories in my average day, I saw like how truly low it was that I was getting, like how truly low the calories were. They were like in the 600 to 800 realm most of the time. And that's really freaking low, you know? That's really low for a grown-ass 40-year-old lady. So I have like that app, it's called like MyFitnessPal or something. I just have the free one. I'm not like promoting that or anything, but like that's what I'm using. And I'm just putting in like everything that I eat. And if I get to the end of the day and I'm not doing good, I will make sure that like if I'm not to like the goal that I have set, which is like 2,000 or something, just like whatever the basic recommended calories are for people, I make sure that I get it in somehow, you know, whether that means I'm eating trail mix at night or making like a smoothie or something. Like, so I really am doing better right now, but it's not like a routine yet. It's not like ingrained yet. It's not solid yet. It's like oh, don't forget you have to eat, like don't forget, okay, what are you gonna have, like what are you gonna make, okay, how many calories are in that, okay, like let's make sure that you get what you need. So I'm just kind of struggling with that right now, and I don't know exactly how, like a better way to fix it. And it just makes me sad to see from like this like detached perspective, to feel so called to like help people to be a good mom or a good partner or friend, when I am so, you know, kind of careless with my own needs or health or whatever. So anyway, burnout is a bitch. Eating disorders are a bitch. Rejection is a bitch. And the machine that I feel like people need to keep feeding to sustain themselves is a fucking bitch, you know? Again, forgive my language. So alright, so let me cool myself down. Okay. All of that and all that emotional spewing on you. Dumping. I'm sorry I'm dumping on you. I should put like a little thing at the beginning. Let me emotionally dump on you. All right, so business-wise, what's my plan? Because I can't just keep things going the way they're going, and I can't give up on it either, because I really do believe and feel with like every ounce, every cell in my body, you know, that the Lunanate is part of my purpose. You know, is it the final form? Well, you know, is there even a final form? It's part of it. It's part of my purpose. It's a way that I can serve. It's a way that I can connect with people. It's a way that I can show up and hopefully like just help, like even for a few seconds, for someone to just like do one of those, you know. And I know how valuable that is, because as I'm here and isolated and struggling, like I know how helpful like a moment of compassion or laughter or inspiration or validation can be. Not like I didn't know before, but you know, I really do know, and I don't want to give up, and I just have to adapt my schedule and, you know, figure this out. So what am I doing? After, it's been about a week since I've made anything, and that might not sound like that long, but that is a long ass time for me. I usually make 3 to 7 videos in a week, you know, so for me to do nothing this past week feels really weird, but really necessary. And I need to pivot. Like I need to like pump the brakes and pivot and come back with a system that is better for me and therefore better for everybody, because I can't, you know, everybody who likes what I do, I mean, like, or anyone who's ever, whatever, I hope you know what I'm trying to say. But it's better for everyone. It's better for my son, it's better for my relationships, it's better for my health, it's better for everybody. So I'm completely pulling back from this forcing myself and like a hyper kind of output of like 3 videos a week. I'm gonna do one. Like on the Lunanate, I'm gonna do 1 video a week, and I almost said something that I love from this podcast that I love, but it's inappropriate. But I'm gonna put it all in, you know, I'm gonna put it all into that video to try to make it more of an experience. And this is something I've had in my head and I've been talking about on Patreon, or I've mentioned at least on Patreon for years. Like I want to focus on quality, not so much quantity. I want to focus on this and not really worry about that. But when you're looking at your numbers going down and this fear hits you, you're like, okay, I'll do more. Okay, I'll do more. Okay, I'll give more. Okay, give more. And it doesn't even help. Like that's the worst part of it. All that extra work. Yeah, the sponsorships were good, but it didn't make my views go up. I still don't have 200,000 subscribers, you know, like it didn't do anything. It just burnt me the frick out. And I'm just using this opportunity to pivot, like, and focus on my health and figure out what's going on with me and focus on my eating. So what I'm doing is prioritizing myself, like my health specifically. I'm prioritizing my health. And also when this was really like coming up, like, wow, like I have to face this. And I was really upset about it that like last week. I was praying, you know, I was just praying like God or like angels, like archangels, like please, like guides, like please like help me, like just help me. Like I don't know what I need, but just like help me. Please make something happen. Please show me what I need or whatever. So one of the big parts of that was, or something I feel was connected to that, was out of the blue, literally out of the blue. A couple of days ago, my son said, hey, Momo, I want to now spend 7 days with you and then 7 days with my dad and then come back. And basically, when we separated, we promised each other and him, even though he wasn't in the room, like our son wasn't there, but we promised to listen to what he wants. He's 10 years old. He's not a baby. And we never want him to feel like he didn't get what he needed from his parents. So we were doing 50-50, like I mentioned before. It wasn't 7 days, 7 days. It was like 3.5, basically. But he, at the beginning of this year, was like, I want to spend more time with you, Momo. Like, I want to be here more. So we agreed, and we did the 5 days here, 2 days with dad, thing. So when he just out of the blue said this, I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? We talked about it a bit. And he's like, yeah, like that's what I want now. I was like, okay, like that's great. That's fine, buddy. So even like my sweet little like earth angel, like kid, even though he doesn't know what's going on, like I'm certainly not dumping on him the way I'm dumping on you right now. But I feel like even he, whether there was some divine intervention or whatever you want to call it, but even him now requesting to have like a 50-50 schedule with me and his dad is like hugely beneficial for me, even though like I'm gonna miss him so much that week. It's just like I'll have more time like more time to focus on myself, to work on the projects I want to work on without feeling rushed, to take a vacation, like whatever it is, right? So that I couldn't have forced that or planned for that to happen. That just happened, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm really grateful for his dad being flexible enough to be able to like agree to it again too, of course. So that's one thing that's happening. The other thing, like I said, is I'm just committing to 1 video a week on Patreon. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say Patreon there. 1 video a week on YouTube. And if I feel like doing more, I will. But I'm not going to force myself. I'm not going to stress myself out over it. I'm not going to like bleed out. You know, I'm not going to bleed out because in the long run, it's not helping anybody. Like I was really afraid of just like not waking up. Like I was so scared that like my heart would stop in the middle of the night or something, like whether it was stress or anxiety, or maybe there's something going on that I don't know about, like with my circulation and stuff. And I'm like having conversations with like my son's dad, like please like check in on him every day, because if something happened, I don't know like if he'd be able to like call you, you know, like I don't know if he'd notice, like please check in, because like I was so scared of something happening and nobody knowing, and my son being here without anybody to like help or something. I don't know. So like that stresses so like much, you know, like it's such a strong stress. So I've got that going on now too, where you know his dad's like checking in on him just to make sure he's okay, and in a sense that's kind of like checking in on me to make sure I'm okay. So that helps. Yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna try to do some different stuff and be more creative and let that creativity flow instead of feeling like I have to meet some kind of number quota. Like just let it flow. Like that's what I'm best at. That's what feels best. The best stuff comes out when that happens. So I also really would love to branch out a little too, like not in a forced way or taking on more things to fill like my schedule or something all up again and like get myself back into the same situation. But I'd love to play more with like short forms, like shorts and reels, and even like TikTok maybe or something, or play with doing like more tarot or more I want to do this like audiobook kind of thing for Patreon and stuff. So basically, anyway, I'm just finally acting on the message that I was getting months ago, you know, which was to pivot, to rework my output schedule to fit more of my real life and what I'm capable of. And yeah, just like get back in touch with the organic nature of it, because I really feel like I was forcing things. And I don't mean to, I'm not trying to talk bad about my work either, like, oh, those videos aren't good. Oh, those videos I made when I was burning out, like, they're not good. Like, I love those videos. Like, I think that some of like the best messages come through when you're going through it, because it's authentic, you know, like it's authentic. But right now my thing is like, my authenticity is in burnout and health scares and, you know, acknowledging my fears and letting myself go back to the more creative and spiritually attuned side versus feeding this machine that inevitably just buries all the work that I've done, you know. And I'm not trying to complain about YouTube or anything when I say that. It's just the nature of it. I might have these, like, for example, anybody could have, I'm saying me because it's my thing, but like any creator can have like this pure gold nugget in their catalog, but with every week that they're putting out more and more, like those videos just keep getting buried. And I know that they'll, you know, be stumbled upon one way or another, and it's not about the numbers for me, but it is kind of a painful process to know that you're contributing to like this burying of your own like gems or something. I don't know, I'm not saying that right. So I'm basically right now working with someone just to familiarize myself with how to create vertical videos. Like I know how to, but like what does that look like, or just to kind of like have somebody to bounce ideas off of and kind of set a little bit of a guideline, guideline format, template kind of thing on how I can kind of dig into that. And yeah, just put a little more into the like explorative side of things, because I was really on like a rat wheel or rat race or hamster wheel or whatever you want to call it. Like I was on a wheel that was just, the faster I went to get off of the wheel, the faster I had to keep up with the wheel. You know, like seems kind of obvious, but when you're on it, it's really hard to jump off of, you know, because the speeds are so intense and the risk feels so intense. And when you're super isolated as well, it feels like being productive in your work and putting out a lot of content for me or whatever, or in my case rather, is like how you stay grounded or how you stay connected or how you maintain. But it doesn't always work that way, and I don't think it often works that way. I think what works that way, that's the rarity, you know, because most of the time that's just not how people operate. So anyway, thanks for listening to me. My hair is being super weird. Like I said, I slept with wet hair last night, and I woke up to like frizziness over here, and this part like pushed forward all funny. It looks really weird. I don't want anyone to worry about me, and I really don't want anyone to like call me out for going through a bad time, you know? I think that you have to be really careful about who you share your troubles with. I think that there's a value in expressing yourself and telling people what's going on. There's validation and there's like empathy. It can be a really, you know, and like the encouraging comments and stuff are like so spirit lifting. And at the same time, there are people who will hold you that way. You know, they'll hold space for you in this disempowered light that you're kind of going through, like pity. Like, so please, if you can do anything for me, it's just like, don't pity me right now, because I have a lot of really good things going on. I put too much pressure on myself. I expected too much out of myself. I got caught up in this race, and it was hard for me to see my way out of it. But I see it now, I see it. And if that means that I have to kind of, take a few hits in terms of, YouTube punishing me for taking some time off, that's what I'm going to do, and if I have to, change my output to a 1 a week thing where I can take my time a little more, then that's what I'm going to do, it's just, I don't want to say I'm out of it yet. I think that I still need time to recharge and kind of like care for myself. I still need time for me right now, but I also am not in a position that like needs pity or, and I just don't want to be held in any disempowering light. I don't want to be held in a space of like, oh, poor you kind of thing, because it really isn't about that, It's all me, it's my issue that I have with myself. Like, I love myself, but like, why can't I take care of myself? I love myself, but why do I let things become more important than me, right? So that's like a thing I'm just kind of working on. And I will say too, because this is not my first rodeo in a health scare, this is not the first time I've been burnt out. Like, you learn a lot in those experiences, and with every health scare that I've had and every time I've ever needed to have like surgery, whenever anything big went on in my life, 100% it was also a marking of time that the next door that opened was like a new world, like a new like version of like a new chapter, a new book, a new story of my life. And whether that's health scares or breakups or loved ones passing or whatever the frick, right? Like big things that cause you to change or that shake things up, as difficult as they can be, they're entirely necessary, So even though this sucks and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, and I know it's not as bad as a lot of other people have it too at the same time, I know that it's necessary, some way, shape, or form. It's necessary, and I'll be stronger for it. I'll be more compassionate for it. I'll be more experienced for it. And when I speak of things in the future in sessions that I do, there'll be also this like authenticity of living it too, or sharing that path. And as, a healer, I still cringe at that word because it just sounds like so pretentious, or it can, right? But as a person who like works in these like holistic realms and these spiritual realms and like really loves and values like the metaphysical, the esoteric, the unseen, the other side of, let's say like there's science, but there's also spirituality, and it's not that they're competing with each other. They both just exist, right? It's not a comparison of forces here or thought. It's the dualistic nature of things, like multiple things existing at once, right? And as somebody whose life is so woven, like so evidently woven with the, let's say like metaphysical, I just have so much faith and trust and understanding that, this too shall pass, and there is a law of rhythm, and these things are important, these are like the hard lessons, these are the challenging things, and these are things maybe even from like past life experiences or shit, if you're into it, things that your soul is still sort of recovering from. And I think one of my biggest lessons in life is to learn to take care of myself and put myself first, in a sense, right? Because it's both. It's not just like you can feel like you're here to serve and you're here to help, and that's true if you feel that. And I think we probably all do in a way, right? But it's also, and, you know, you have to do things for you and you have to follow your heart. And these both exist at the same time. So again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. I am really excited. Truly, I know this sounds like I shouldn't even be saying this, but like I'm truly excited for what's to come. Like once I get through this little cloud, this little rain cloud kind of situation. And I want to thank everybody. You know, if you had seen my community post on the Lunany and left a comment, holy crap, like I'm just blown away. And Patreon as well, like just blown away by everyone's support and like sweetness with me and compassion and encouragement to just take some time. It's really hard, but I need it and I have to just kind of do that, you know. So my next vlog here, I don't even think I can call this a vlog, but my next vlog here will be kind of a little back to something more creative and fun, hopefully, to talk about. But I just wanted to come on and have a place to put, you know, like what I've been going through, because you really are the people I spend the most time with. You really are, and your comments are like the most messages that I get. And it's so meaningful to me. So, yeah, I just wanted to come and share and encourage you, please. Like if you feel like you're bleeding out, if you feel like you're burning out, if you feel like you're getting a message to take time for yourself or to rework how you operate, as in like what do your days look like and what your output is and like all this stuff, or whatever it might be for you in your life, please listen to the messages from your body, from your heart, from your intuition, your impulses. Please listen to them and take the time that you need for yourself. Everything changes, everything's always moving, but sometimes it's good to like get out of that flow for yourself so you can work on yourself and hop back in. And not only are you different, but everything is different too, because everything keeps moving. So you get this like kind of fresh start, you know, you get this like different opportunity here. Thank you for taking this time with me. Thanks for listening. I'm so grateful for these connections. I'm so grateful for this cheerleading sort of energy. I can't tell you how much it means to me. I haven't had this from my family. Like, I love my family, but like they're not like supportive in a sense. Like they're not, hey, how's your day? Oh, do you need anything? Oh, like, you know, and a lot of people don't have that. But what I'm trying to say is that like this has become a type of family for me, a safe space, a lovely community, and I'm just so grateful for it. So I just don't ever want to present that I'm in any way ungrateful or unappreciative, because I can't even put to words what this all means to me. So I'll let you go. Won't take up more of your time, but thank you so much. I love you, and I'm just wishing you a wonderful day. And if you need help, like, please, like, seek help, you know, seek help. We all need help sometimes. Everybody, you know. So, all right. Talk to you later.